Thank you so much. Delighted to be here. Amansi, thank you. I had um, called her last year, asked her to address us. I'm just make, asked us to address her last year. She promised me she will consider this year. Actually, she didn't say she would do it this year. She said she might have another event to play. I called her again this year and she said she would be delighted, and I'm very happy to have her here. I told her in the last few years we've had wonderful speakers, but for her to be here, she is somebody who has excelled in the world, excelled in adversity, and she's one of our own. So I really thank you, Mansi, for being here today with us to inspire all of us who are here listening to you, and for the lots of students who are also listening as to what one of their own has done and excelled in human endeavor in the world. So thank you. I thank everybody who has come today. I thank our Vice Chancellor and Provost. I thank our trustees, heads of institutions, staff, faculty, students, guests, everyone who has come and joined us today for our 62nd Foundation Day. COVID has really changed the world. It's turned things inside out. Many of us are seeing lives and livelihoods affected. I personally know many people who've lost their lives, and how that has, I knew people who have lost their lives, and how it has disrupted their families. I, I think the prayer that we said in the beginning, in which one of the shloks is Sarvetra Sukhina Santu, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukham Agnuyat. Let everybody be happy. Let everybody be free of disease. Let everybody see good things. Let nobody be affected by sorrow. I think that's a beautiful prayer. And sometimes we say these prayers as rituals, but the meaning behind them is very deep. And I wish Sarvetra Sukhina Santu, let everybody be happy. We know there's a lot of difficulty around us. Our foundation day is 9th September 1959. In the days of COVID, I was wondering whether we should wait for a physical celebration. Our Vice Chancellor and Provost, Dr. Pillai, said, we don't know when normality will return. Why don't we go ahead with the celebration in September itself? And so we did this. A foundation day is for us to reflect on our past, our founding principles, our present, and where we want to go. As Mansi said in my conversation with her yesterday, I told her that Somaiya Vidya Vihar was founded in 1959, but the first school was established by our founder, Karamshi Jetabai Somaiya, in 1942 in a small village in rural Maharashtra. He always thought that he had to repay his debt to society. He felt he had been given much from society, and then creating a school was a way of giving opportunity to those less fortunate. For him also, education was gave him that window of opportunity. And if he succeeded, which he credited Providence for, but if he succeeded, he thought we must we must give back to society through education. Why did he create Somaiya Vidya Vihar? One clear aim was to create great citizens of India and the world. And as I reflect back in this past 1 year when we faced COVID, I want to give a couple of examples that would make him feel proud about the kind of students he has created in this particular context of COVID. I have a friend called Nilesh, not a friend, actually, somebody I know whose daughter studies in our medical college. And he called me saying, I wanted to ask you something. My daughter is an intern in your hospital. I wasn't sure what he's going to ask next. And his question was, or he rather told me that she's an intern and she's working in the COVID ward. And we asked her that, what do you think about working in COVID patients? And he said, my daughter Ayush, she told me, Dad, this is what I've signed up for. I've signed up to study medicine so I can be an instrument to help cure people. And I will stay in the hostel provided by the campus because my grandparents at home are old. So I do not want to be risk to them. And I will do this. And so I want to ask you something. So I was wondering whether the father, Nilesh, is going to ask whether any exceptions can be made. And this is what he asked me. He said, I'm proud of what you are teaching my daughter. I'm proud of my daughter. And I want to say, if you need volunteers, me and my wife are ready to volunteer. I think this is fantastic spirit, which I see in all the interns, the doctors, the staff, the administration, the nurses. On the days we had nursing shortages, the nursing faculty were doing their work. We know about our canteen person at the hostel at Somaiya where who took over from the person who stopped giving food, got worried with COVID. So I think these are great soldiers, and we are making great citizens. And Ayushi is just one example. I met some of the students a few days ago, and interns and young doctors and residents, and we are all proud that this is the campus that we are learning from them as much or more than they are learning from us. Um, I I he also wanted to build students who excel in human endeavor. He had somebody called Mr. Keswani who helped him. And I think if I reflect on Mansi, she's clearly somebody who's excelled in human endeavor, excelled in many ways. To excel in a sport itself at the world level takes a lot of doing, hard work, commitment, grit. And to excel in the face of adversity, in the face of disability, I think hats off to you, Mansi. You are an inspiration. And I repeat this, that, you know, we really wanted you to speak today, uh, precisely because you're such an inspiration. It takes a lot of grit and determination to be where you are. And thank you for accepting. Another person I want to talk about is Dr. Mayur Mewada. He is somebody who was a doctor in the front line, and he got COVID very quickly. This is in late February, early March, when COVID had barely made inroads into India. I've seen copies of his text messages to our hospital senior staff saying that it's finding it difficult to breathe. I can barely catch a breath, but I'm going to fight this disease. Fight it, he did. And he said, he even told our senior staff, I'll see you in 3 weeks in the ward doing my rounds. It wasn't 3 weeks, it may have been 6 weeks, but 6 weeks later, there he is doing his rounds. Salute all these people who are there to serve society. It's about rising to the occasion. I it's right it's being there, the entire staff at the hospital, the dean and all her leadership team rising to the occasion. And I see my grandfather, the old man, smiling over there and saying his motto of na manushat paro dharma, that there is no religion greater than service to humanity. I think we often forget that this is the true essence of all religion and spirituality: service to humanity, service to the world. And that's what we at our institution seek to tell our students, teach them, and also learn from them. Learn from their example. We learn as much from you as we think we teach you. So thank you for being there. Dr. Pillai already said about our having become a university. I think it's challenging to transition into a university. It's challenging to form a university. And then to do so in such difficult times. it has been a tremendous challenge, but it's been a creative effort. It has been a family effort. It has been a great teamwork. We were thinking about how do we create academic flexibility. My student experience is from my studies at Cornell and later on at Harvard and MIT. How do we create and to work with our faculty, our heads of institutions, our various board of studies to say that, if you had a student such as Manasi, who's doing mechanical engineering, and of course she said later on she switched fields, but who wanted to do a minor, let's say in history, is it possible? If you want to do a minor, or you want to do a minor in electrical engineering, electronics, is it possible? Or can you do these things to enable our faculty to be able to create the curriculum that they think they can teach? Talking with Prema Basargekar of our business school and saying that this current COVID opportunity and how the KJ Somaiya Hospital and Medical College rose to the occasion and has treated about 3,100 patients for COVID today. I think it's the largest private effort in the state of Maharashtra. I think it's a learning moment that we must commit to institutional memory. How do we create a course that teaches students how to manage in a crisis, that deals with negotiations with or it deals with policies, incentives, plans? How do you work with various teams? How do you work with the government who changes a policy on you daily because the world is changing on them daily? How do you work with the staff? How do you work with there are finances? How do you see? I think it's a tremendous challenge. And if I'm able to make this into a course, it is because the university status now gives us the freedom to be able to make this into a course. If Manasi sits on the board of studies of the Somaiya Sports Academy in exercise science, it's because we have the freedom now to create such coursework. It's so that we can create not only athletes, as she says, but people also who can make athletes, people who can be made into coaches, people who understand nutrition as well as who understand fitness, as well as who understand. I've seen the course curriculum they've created. They've also such wonderful literature, books of literature they're asking people to read. And I think that's what we did. And in doing so, we've tried to merge also what institutions are in the university and what remain as autonomous colleges in Mumbai University. And so this is academic flexibility that we can provide. It's been also very interesting. We merged our centers of Buddhist studies, Jain studies, and Bharatiya Sanskriti Peetham, which does Hindu studies, into what we call the KJ Somaiya Institute of Dharma Studies, to consolidate and enlarge opportunities. It's been interesting to see that when we have Reshma, who teaches Prakrit literature, she's got students in this new normal, as we call it, who are taking the certificate course from Washington, D.C., Berlin, Karnataka, Mumbai, and even New Zealand. Rudraksh, who played the Sarangi at the beginning, has a course in Sankhya Yoga where he got 100 students who signed up. Kavita Pai, I think in Buddhist studies, got a fellowship in Poland. I think I forget the name of the university, very famous university where Copernicus was a alum. I think this is possible because we also have faculty who may be. I'm talking to Prasad Bhide, and he's launched recently a course in Arthashastra, and again he's got people from all over. Talking to Professor Dave, and we are talking about the Gujarati Ghazal. This is possible because of the freedom, autonomy, and this difficult times allows us new ways of reaching people. So while we adapt, I think it's interesting. Can we get a blended learning approach where you have physical and enlarge? We're working on manuscripts. How do we enlarge manuscripts and courses around them? So I think it's a great time to do work in university. It's been difficult times. The last few months have been very challenging, but we look forward to a bright, a new normality coming back to us so we can go forward. The students continue to inspire us. I still remember meeting a company who does work in synthetic biology in Boston a few years ago called Ginkgo, and they introduced me to the iGEM Corporation competition, which is one of the biggest competitions in synthetic biology. And last year, I was delighted to know that two of our students went there, Shreya Nair, Apeksha Kumari, and Chintan Gala, who actually went and participated in this competition on synthetic biology. The whole idea is, if we are to be a university and we should be excelling in our city, our state, our country, and the world. And one way to do it is to provide exposure. Ultimately, Mansi also gets tested on the world stage when she competes, and she understands what the world is larger. We get an appreciation for the world when we go there. We learn from them, not by narrowing our boundaries, but by opening them. Um, our schools do remarkably well. I'm delighted by the fact that the school in Karnataka, the CBSE school, we have girls who are all below the age of 14, but they won the South Zone under 16 competition in handball, and they played at the national level. The Somaiya school in Mumbai, I think they've only graduated 3 classes in the 10th standard, but the first batch and the third batch, the topper of the school was also the topper of Mumbai, and this current topper was topper of Mumbai. Kashvi Kamath was topper of Mumbai and Pune. Um, the library we built in our school in Kopargaon won the Beasley Award at the London Design Museum for the best library architecture in education zone in 2019. So I think we want to set world. We want to give up exposure for the world. We want to do things that are world class. We want to create world class opportunities. But there's a lot we want to do. We dream of our university today in the Somaiya Vidya Vihar campus. We want to connect it to our hospital campus, the Ayur Vihar campus. They're 4 kilometers apart. We're talking to the government, allow us to create these two campuses. And as I said that to them in Hindi, Maharashtra ko hila denge. We will build a world class institution right in the center of the city. We have the imagination, we have the vision, dreams, we have we have people like Dr. Larry Faulkner, whom I see here, who is there, President Emeritus from the University of Texas at Austin, and all others who are guiding us as we go forward. With their support, we can truly try to create a world-class institution. I, I thank all of you for coming. I thank you for um, being here. And thank you again, Mansi. Please continue working with us, walking with us, and teaching us and guiding us as we try to build this institution in the dream and spirit as it was founded. Thank you once again.